Konnichiwa minasan. This is Wakizashi in the tea house. Today I want to do a short review of the first volume of Homesick Pilots. It's published by Image Comics and it's written by Dan Watters, the British writer. There's art by Caspar Wijngaard. I think that's how you pronounce his name, and please forgive me if I made a mistake. So this is volume 1, it's called Teenage Haunts, and it collects the first 5 issues of the comic. Let's check the synopsis on the back. In the summer of 1994, a haunted house walks across California. Inside is Amy, lead singer of a high school punk band, who's been missing for weeks. How did she get there? What do these ghosts want? And does this mean the band has to break up? Now, here's a quote from the issue which I quite liked. This is Amy, and she says, "We need to throw a sicker gig than this. Somewhere even better. Somewhere we can really show people what the Homesick Pilots are all about. We should throw a gig in the house that kills people." Intrigued yet? Okay. Let's have a look at some of the art. The art is gorgeous. So Caspar Wijngaard does the penciling and the inking and the colouring in this book. I really like his colouring. There's a strong focus on blues, purples and kind of dark pinks and reds. It really suits the mood of the story. So, what is Homesick Pilots about? First of all, let me tell you about Dan Watters. And I became interested in Dan Watters' work after reading his run on the 2019 Lucifer comic. It was published by Vertigo, briefly, before they collapsed in flames. Here's volume 4 of Lucifer, which I'll be reviewing in another video. Now, I really liked his work on Lucifer. I liked his writing style. So I thought I'd give this new series a try. So Homesick Pilots tells the story of 3 teenage foster kids. These are the names. Are you ready for this? Amy, Buzz and Rip. And they formed the titular punk band Homesick Pilots. At the gig of rival band Nuclear Bastards, Amy decides they need to play their next live show at a local haunted house. Let's have a look again at some of the art. I just want to point out, I'm not a big fan of these full page black spreads here with just a little bit of text on. I'd much rather see the art. There's a cover for issue 1. Look at that image of the house there coming to life, it looks like. I think that's cool. So the story starts promisingly as we meet the characters and begin to explore their world. A mystery is set up in the very first issue as Amy fails to return from the haunted house. Her 2 bandmates, Buzz and Rip, love those names, follow her to the house, breaking in from the 2nd floor. Let me see if I can find that page because it's really good. It's a double page spread. Here we go. I like the look of this. There's a feeling of lock and key here, if you know what I mean. Not the style, but maybe the setting. Okay. So, after her 2 friends break into the house to try and find out what happened to her, you can probably imagine that strange weirdness ensues with both writer Watters and the artist Wijngaard letting their imagination run wild. I mean, of course it takes the haunted house trope, and in an interview with Comic Crush from November 2020, Dan Watters talks about some of the influences. Let me just quote the interview. "I don't think all ghost stories have to be horror stories. The idea I'm trying to explore is that the haunted house is a metaphor for the human head. It's one of the reasons I've talked about The Shining a lot in interviews. The idea that the Overlook Hotel is Jack Torrance's psyche, blown up and given form as this hotel. Haunted houses are containers full of ghosts, and I think that people are containers full of ghosts. We're all haunted, even by things that aren't necessarily traumas. So that was Dan Waters from an interview with Comic Crush. Now let me talk a little bit more about the art. I think Caspar Wijngaard, his artwork is striking because it's got strong, bold line work, and as I said, the use of darker shades, reds and pinks, purples. Now I can't show too much because this is actually rated as mature, so I'll be careful what to show. Again, go back to this page. I like the colours in the sky, the sunset, and the window there. Some of the ghosts that this creative team has dreamed up have pretty eye-catching designs. Like there's a horseshoe-headed one, which I want to show before the end of the video, and even a segmented boy in the fridge, which I can't show for obvious reasons. Now the haunted house is beautifully realised by Wijngaard. It's all twisting hallways and morphing rooms. It takes the form of a huge, shambling mecha monster hybrid toward the end of the book, but I'm only showing art from the first 2 issues as I don't want to do any spoilers. Okay, let's have a look again. Here we go. I just want to show here. That's that horseshoe-headed ghost, which I think is really cool. Oh, you can just see my bookmark. Cyberfrog. Salamandroid. Love EVS. So, what did I think of it? Well, despite the fantastic art, which I do, again, really like, for me the story didn't really take off. After a really promising start, the plot kind of lost its way. I thought there were too many separate elements like running together. It's like Waters had too many ideas he was trying to push, in the first few issues. I know, I realise it's only been 5 issues in this collection, but it left me with more questions than answers, which can be a good thing for a lot of stories. But for example, it's unclear why the house is behaving this way. Like who or what these different ghosts are. We don't really learn much of their story in this first collection. Why Amy was singled out. Does she have powers? Why? And where is the story heading? To add to this, throw in the sudden introduction of some kind of agency that hunts ghosts, and I'm lost. Of course, I'm not a fan of too much exposition. I don't want to know characters telling you what's going on and explaining the story. I'd rather see more show than tell. And again, it could come together in the next few issues for the second volume, but sorry, Dan Waters, I'm not willing to wait. I won't be continuing with Homesick Pilots, despite the great art and pretty cool concept. So, for me, this is not a recommend. So please let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks so much for watching. See you in the tea house in the future. This is Wakizashi signing off, listening to the falling rain and the creaking frogs of Japan's rainy season. Sayonara.